Alright, so guys, you guys are looking at my screen here. I got a bunch of stuff that I'm gonna use. So I recently acquired this. Oh, hello guys. So this is some of the stuff that I acquired. So these are gonna be all projects. So Valkyrie's gonna be a project. Z28 is gonna be a project. I actually nixed the RA27. The ARS23-85 because that's going to be my next project car right there. C1 is going to be at some point as well. I put the turbo motor from the R2C78, whatever it is, and put it in that. That's going to be a Comparo at one point. The Skyline 2000 GT 73 GTR 73 has got a race engine in it, and so on and so forth. Let me just peer down the list a little bit. The High Medic, I'm gonna do. I've done some stuff with that. I actually I did do some game mode with the RA272. I just did a quick lap, just to showcase it. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing over the next couple of months, next couple of weeks. Hello everybody, welcome back to the vlog. And I thought I'd just do that before I do the gear change show, seeing as you guys are probably interested in seeing what I was doing, what I was planning over the next couple of months, and such like that. So hello everybody, welcome back to the gear change show. Here on a Saturday night. So yeah, those are my plans for Gran Turismo 7 for the next couple of months, for the next couple of weeks or so. I'm recording a lot. I recorded a lot, so actually, did I do a live lap of the RA272? Yeah, I think I did. So and I did a lap. I didn't do a lap of the Valkyrie. I actually just did a 500-mile race, 500-mile test with a Tomahawk, which I sold, and I just wanted to do it. So there's a whole bunch of content. I just wanted to get a bunch of testing done. So there's going to be a comparison with the Nissan GTR, and I might do some work on that Camaro that you saw. The Corvette's also going to get tuned, and it's going to do some testing. I'm going to run it at Road Atlanta. I'm thinking of running all the Japanese cars. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm running the Japanese cars at not at Road Atlanta, but at different racetracks in Japan, like Kyoto driving place and stuff like that. So and Fuji, because there's the longest straight. Which I wanted to talk about today, actually, Fuji Speedway, since World Endurance Competition is entering Fuji Speedway. So, for those of you who don't know, for those Eagle Eye viewers who watched Rush back in 2013, Chris Hemsworth played James Hunt, and Daniel Bruhl played Niki Lauda, young Niki Lauda, during and after his crash. But you guys, last race of the season is at a small little track called Fuji Speedway, and Fuji Speedway is known for its is known for its beautiful racetrack. It has the longest front stretch of any Grand Prix circuit, and cars, including the prototypes that are running in the World Endurance Championship later today. Actually, the race starts in about an hour. Actually, about half an hour. Actually, it'll start in half an hour. I think it does. No, it actually starts right now. Actually, I think. So it actually starts. Yeah, it actually starts right now. Actually, so I'm gonna see the start of this. See what the start of the. They're 18 minutes in, so so the Fuji race circuit. I'm gonna watch the race, and it's gonna be 6 hours. So it's probably gonna get done around 4 o'clock tonight, 4 o'clock this morning. I'm probably gonna be watch 2 hours, and then I'm probably gonna fall asleep watch. I don't know. I had some Coca-Cola, so. But yeah, so Fuji race circuit. For those of you who don't know, it's actually a pretty beautiful circuit. It's got straights, it's got curves, it's got S-bends, and it's a really cool thing. It's more of a Toyota track more than any other, so that's the reason why when I was showing you guys what cars I was using, the cars that I'm running are more. See that I have a lot of Japanese cars running, and I'm going to showcase. The one thing I will say about my Gran Turismo videos going forward is there will be zero commentary. Reason why I'm doing that is because I am not doing commentary because it gets in the way. I can't really do much in the way of it. I'm still trying to figure out. I'm still trying to figure out I'm still trying to figure out I'm still trying to figure out how to get it done. So I'm not going to really do this now. I can't show you guys the start of the race because unfortunately I get copyright and all this other crap, and there's already a yellow flag already. So yeah, so for the time being, I'm probably not going to do audio for the foreseeable future. It just gets in the way, and you guys would rather hear the cars instead rather than listen to me talk, because it's become the same song and dance for me, because you guys will look at the screen, you guys will know what I'm doing anyway. So and I'm going to check over the footage tomorrow because I'm going to record an episode tomorrow. I'm going to record. I recorded a lot of the MC12. I got a base time for a lot of the cars, and I've done, because I wanted to get the cars, like the race cars. I'm not going to spend time on them because they're already fully tuned, because they can be tuned in 2 seconds. It's not much of a difference, so I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to waste half an hour talking about a race car and setting lap times and giving you guys an idea of what it will do around Atlanta and stuff like that. With the GTR though, I'm going to try to go around different race circuits. I'm going to try to go around Daytona and Le Mans and Watkins Glen. You know, I'm going to start to go around a lot more race circuits going forward. The next one I'm going to be using the Maserati to tune it is, I might also do Laguna Seca for Maserati. Also, I might do Monza, because Maserati is Italian, so it is good. I'll show you guys the Valkyrie. I'll show you guys the Valkyrie stock and tune, so I'll do a couple laps with that and keep it for a while and sell it and whatnot. So so I'm going to be doing a heck of a lot of projects and stuff like that. So because you guys have already seen it. So all right, we're 13 minutes in, and I'm talking about Gran Turismo. I'm talking about Fuji Speedway, the World Endurance Championship. Because I'm hoping Ferrari wins or Porsche wins. I'm hoping maybe Porsche will come up with a upset win, or Porsche will come up with an upset win, or Cadillac will slot in there. It's kind of tough to say. So it's been difficult for Ferrari and Cadillac and all these other guys, because they don't necessarily race Toyota. Toyota owns the track, so it's kind of weird. So that being said, I wanted to get to the topic tonight before I did anything else. It's just a subtopic. I wanted to talk about. Well, I'll talk about the I'll talk about one of an ubiquitous motor that the Japanese use a lot, and I'm not talking about the 2JZ, and I'm not talking about the 5.6 liter V8s and stuff like that are in. I'm going to talk about an engine that I know that the Americans and the French and the British all ended up perfecting, and they had it long before the Japanese did. I want to go with the Japanese 4-cylinder. For those of you who don't know, so how did the Japanese, who So how the Japanese come to like really liking the four-cylinder and really liking the economy car, and how did they come up with, how they really come up with the idea for it. So I'm gonna say back in the 1950s, Toyota kind of led the charge of going over to Britain, and they went to an Austin factory, part of the British Leyland, and the British Leyland, or the British Motor Company, or the British Motor Company, or Britannic Motor Company, whatever you want to call it, let them tour the factory, and they looked at how the engineers put the cars together. They looked at how cheap the cars were to make and stuff like that. So the one thing that Toyota made sure of is that the one engine that they kind of picked up out of all of them was the little four-cylinder engine. And a four-cylinder engine was very good because Austins, Dolomite Sprites, and all the other good economy cars had four-cylinder engines, usually 1.5, 1.6, 2, almost in the 2-liter range, for them to use. And the engine proved to be a very reliable one. It proved to be a very fuel efficient one, and it really didn't need to really rev all that much in the beginning, because by the 50s, four cylinders weren't really much of a thing over Europe, much of a thing over in America, and Europe kind of went with the 6-cylinder because that was their engine. Obviously Ford Chevrolet, Ford Chevrolet, and Chrysler all had 6-cylinders and 8-cylinders. They had a couple 4-cylinder maybes for their economy cars, and they had a couple 4-cylinder engines in their economy cars. And usually American cars were known for their size. I'm going to say the engines were really on the big side. The cars were, I'm going to say the cars had a decent size capacity. For example, I'll show you, I'll just look it up very quickly. I'm just going to look up the Chevy Nova. The Chevy Nova, the Chevy 2, as it was known. So I'm going to do a 1962 machine. So a Nova had a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, the 153 4-cylinder, which was quite the engine for its time. It was, you know, as I said, it had 90 horsepower, 152 foot-pounds of torque, and it came in at 4,000 RPM for the power, and it came at 2,400 RPM for the torque. And they needed it down low because, for those of you who are saying, well, didn't the Corvair have a flat 6? That's more akin to Porsche. That's not. And that ran a number of years, cast iron block. So that ran from 1965. So that was all the 1965. 65 Toyota. So 965 Toyota, I'm going to do a Toyota Crown, Toyota, actually Toyota Corona, not coronavirus, thank you very much, don't say anything, just, so the Toyota Corona, it was made up till 2001, it'd be funny if it was made up to when it was discontinued in 2020. So, and by the way, it used to be known as the Toyo Pet. Used to be known as the Toyo Pet, by the way, at one point. Toyota Corona. So the third generation Corona, the equivalent car, was known as a 1600 GT over here in America. Over here in America, of course, when they came over. Those cars had between a 1.2 liter, which is 1200 cc's. Which is 1200 cc's, about 0.3 down, and they didn't have quite as many horses, and not as quite as RPM. They actually were a little higher revving, actually, at 5,000 RPM and 2,800, just a little bit more, but they were making less power. And Toyota and Honda and Nissan really didn't have a heck of a lot of use for turbo engines and stuff like that. It wasn't until like the 70s and 80s that they started to stumble upon that turbocharging was gonna be the way. It was actually gonna help with fuel economy, sort of the same way that the hybrid system, along with the four-cylinder, as a four-cylinder and six-cylinder, is helping out fuel economy and keeping the gas engine alive today. And it wasn't around until 70, 71, 72 when the oil crisis hit over here in the US that Toyota started becoming a big thing, and they sort of replaced the bigger, much thirstier cars, and that's the way when Detroit ended up falling apart. And that's when Detroit ended up saying, well, we need four cylinders now, we need better ones as well. It wasn't until like the 80s, like the mid to late 80s, that they actually ended up focusing on the four-cylinder and the six-cylinder. And then it was in 1970, it was in like the early to mid 70s when, mid to late 70s, that Toyota and Honda and Nissan started to find and say, maybe the cars can be turbocharged because we can get more power out of them, thus we will upgrade the efficiency. And this also gave to the rise to some really wild race car engines. Nissan had a 2-liter turbo, in a Silhouette GTR that they had, and 2-liter GTRs and everything like that. And the real idea, as I said, the real idea was speed and efficiency. It's sort of a Japanese thing. Speed and efficiency are sort of Japanese things. So, some of my favorite cars from that era come from four-cylinder engines come from Japan. So A lot of people think that, oh, the GTR has always had a straight six. It's always had a straight six. It's always a cool car. It's always had a straight six. It's always had the greatest engine output. It has an amazing motor that blows everything away and stuff like that. Great until you kind of figure it out just it's kind of its history. So the GTR has actually been in production since 1969. A lot of you are probably like, oh, it's been in production since 1989 because of the R33 and the supercars, yada yada yada. Yeah, that's true, but obviously the early brands, the ones that are in 1969, 1972, started with a 2-liter straight six, and the straight six. So and of course as I said, high performance cars, they thought 157 horsepower was really high performance because of the road taxation over in Japan and all the other stuff. That was pretty high po for them, and they got rid of engines like that because they revved a lot higher, and they also kind of curbed all the racing, and the 4-cylinder kind of brought that back a little bit, because the 300ZX at one point actually used to have a small 4-cylinder, I think. No, I don't think it had a 4-cylinder. I think it still had a straight six, but and then we move on to the 80s and 90s when Dan Gurney got his hands on a 2.1 liter 3S GTE motor and kind of turned it into a little bit of a monster. He first started with a silica 2-liter turbo, and he made about 450 horsepower. And the car was very good in Trans Am. In fact, it was very decent enough to win a lot of races and stuff like that. But then he was like, wonder if I put this in a car with so much downforce, like a Formula car, now that I will actually win a lot of races and a couple of championships to that. So what he did is he took a 2.1, and this is was kind of the for a while this was kind of the big engine, and this was kind of the ideal engine to run in into a car. And then would be the last time a 2.1 liter 4-cylinder would be run in a really successful prototypes for a while, actually, because I don't think it would be until the early 2000s that prototype race cars would have 4-cylinder engines, Dyson Racing, with the MG Lola 2.0 Lola and stuff like that, and the AER 2-liter, the MZR, which would be kind of a successor to a lot of the engines over in Japan and Europe and stuff like that. So what Dan Gurney decided to do is he decided to take a 2.1 liter engine, and he decided to put it in the body of a March-based chassis, put a big wing on it, make it produce 8,000 to 9,000 pounds of downforce. The car could corner at 200 miles an hour, not very good. Car could go 200 miles an hour just, but the car could corner well, and the ferocious power unit could deliver between 750 and 800 horsepower, so much that they actually won the 92 and 93 IMSA GTP Sports Car Championship, and effectively ended the high-paced GTP era right after 94, 95, 96-ish is when World Sports Cars started taking over, and the LMP cars started to kind of take over because they needed to reduce speeds and stuff like that. Then you move ahead to 2003 with 2003, 2004 and on, and 2008, 2009-ish, and the MZRR engine comes through. So, and the car makes 500 horsepower, not as much as the 750, 800 that the Eagles were making, but enough to kind of put everybody on notice, and a lot of people still actually will vintage race 4-cylinder cars as well. So, and I think Alfa Romeo does 4 cylinders as well and stuff like that, but the 4 cylinders as well. But kind of the biggest one, the current race engines that are doing well right now though are the biggest 4-cylinder, highest strung 4 cylinders now are the 2-liter turbos that we run, that the Super GT cars run now, that are making anywhere from 600 to 650 horsepower in trim. So yeah, it's amazing how a British European invention was taken in by the Japanese and was turned into almost a legend. I mean, there were plenty of good turbo engines that were good, and that was kind of and 4-cylinder engines are very robust if they're built well. It depends on what they run, what you run on boost and stuff like that. But a lot of people are probably wondering, yes, the Japanese have some crazy numbers, but I'm forgetting a couple 4-cylinder motors that really did well. For those of you who didn't know about Formula One had a couple of 4-cylinders that were very powerful. I think Hart Racing had a 4-cylinder that had between 700 and 800 horsepower, but that wouldn't be compared to BMW and the Brabham team with Nelson Piquet back in the 1980s, back in 83, 84, 85-ish, when the peak boost of F1 cars was like 5 pounds of boost. In race trim, the cars had 1,100 horsepower. In qualifying trim, the cars had over 1,450 horsepower, and that was from a 1.5-liter 4-cylinder engine. So the British and the Germans actually kind of, and the Germans learned to extract more power out of smaller displacement engines, and that's sort of the thing that the Germans and the British are doing now with, the Germans are actually doing, for those of you who don't know now, a lot of AMG models, a lot of base AMG models are actually 4-cylinder engines, popping out 300-400 horsepower now from a 2-liter turbo, because obviously, because they're Formula One car, well, not a 4-cylinder, a 6-cylinder, actually can produce a heck of a lot of more power. I mean, those cars with the hybrid systems pop out 1,000, and that's kind of the thing that kind of gets me why the Japanese just don't run high-powered hybrid engines with these cars. Obviously, they're making a lot of these hybrid cars, a lot of these electric cars are making 5, 6, 7, 800 horsepower. And some of them can run faster than some GT cars, and it's actually interesting that that one of the speak of 4-cylinder engines, the Mustang, the new Mustang, the 2.4 liter, the 2024 car. I know the Mustang officially
ages to about 60 years old. So ages to about 60 years old now. So this year, so the 2.3 Mustang GT, not GT, but Force Cylinder EcoBoost with the performance package will actually do 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. 4.5 seconds. Just sink that in, because a Chevy Nova 1964 Chevy Nova 0 to 60 time, I don't think was in. So a Chevy Nova with the turbo fire could do 0 to 60 in about 8 seconds. So I'm probably thinking with the 4-cylinder back, I'm pretty sure I read an article way back in Motor Trend, because I've had a couple vintage Motor Trends from like 1965. That 4-cylinder was doing 0 to 60 in about 13 to 12 seconds. So we've come a long way to shave off 8 seconds and get a Mustang 4-cylinder to do 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. I bet you with a little more tuning, I bet you a couple of guys could get 4.5 and could get 4.5. Although I don't think a lot of magazines will get 4.5 seconds. They'll probably get 5 because they're difficult to launch because all that brute power. So, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about the 4-cylinder really quick. Do a quick little gear change show, and just give you guys a little heads up about what's going on in the world and what my plans are for the future. So, but yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm gonna record one tomorrow. I'm gonna try to record one early, maybe in the morning, maybe 11:30, because I want to catch a lot of racing tomorrow. And I do actually want to catch the World Endurance Championship race tonight, so I can have fun with that. So this has been a gear change show, and this has been so it's been a gameplay update, an intro to the World Endurance Championship. I'll watch the live coverage, and I'll see if I can see where I can watch the race, and if I can't watch the race, then I'm obviously have to grin and bear it, obviously, and just listen to play-by-play on Lamar radio and stuff like that. So I'm not going to give you guys updates, but I might. We'll see. And then Monday I'm going to obviously release one Gran Turismo video, and I'll release one every Monday. And when Forza comes out, I'm going to try to set up my laptop, and I'm probably not going to do commentary. I'm probably just going to be audio. Try to get some commentary in, but I'll have to obviously fix that problem. I haven't done any emulating in a while, so it's either that or I have to get a better capture card. And I'm also going to try to get a wheel as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you guys enjoyed me talking about Gran Turismo plans and stuff like that. Tomorrow I'm going to try to talk about something non-car related, and I'm going to try to talk about something non-car related tomorrow. I'm gonna try to talk about something on car related tomorrow, and just get into the swing of just talking about regular stuff again. And yeah, kind of. Oh yes. Wait a second. I'm going to talk about the 5K walk that I'm doing at the end of October. I might talk about that too, because I've entered the race and Thomas has invited me to participate and asked me if I wanted to participate, and he's invited me to return to the team, which I did take up the offer and I said yes. I donated almost $100 to the Doug Flutie Foundation. For those of you who don't know Doug Flutie, well, a lot of people in New England know who Doug Flutie is. The reason why he started the foundation was because of his son Doug Jr., who's actually autistic and on the autism spectrum, like Thomas and I and a couple other and a few other friends I know. Oh yes, and I'm gonna talk about. I'll talk about that, but I'll see you guys later. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Sorry I haven't recorded for a couple of days, but I wanted to give you guys a big one, and it came in the 41-minute update, and I'll see what I can do about updating you guys on World Endurance. No guarantees, but I'll see what I can do. I will see you guys later, and peace out, folks.